Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why sometimes your memory plays tricks on you, making you almost remember something that never even happened? Well, this new study dives deep into that mystery. Today, we're exploring a fascinating area called collective memory modeling. Big picture, researchers are trying to understand how our memories work. They often use computers to build models that try to copy how our brains store and recall information. But here is the thing, most of these computer models assume everyone's memory works the same way, using the exact same internal files or representations for words. This new research challenges that idea, suggesting that individual differences in how we understand words might be key to understanding memory, especially those tricky false memories. The central question this paper asks is pretty simple, but the answer is complex. They're asking if everyone's understanding of words is a little different. Could that difference alone explain why memory performance varies so much between people, and even produce those classic false memories we talked about? Think about it, your personal life experiences, your education, the things you read and talk about all day, they shape how you understand language. So why would a computer model assume everyone's mental dictionary is identical? For a long time, memory researchers focused more on the process side of memory, how the brain retrieves information, how it makes decisions. But they often assumed the representation, how information is stored, like the meaning of a word was pretty much the same for everyone. This is where the McDermott or DRM paradigm comes in. You've probably seen this in experiments. They show you a list of words, all strongly related to a critical lure word, like list items such as hospital, medicine, nurse, and cure for the word doctor. But here is the kicker. The word doctor itself is never on the list, yet people often remember it. This is a classic false memory. Previous computer models of false memory often use structured representations, meaning they try to capture how words relate to each other. They'd use something called distributional semantic models, which basically represent word meanings as high-dimensional vectors learned from huge amounts of text. The idea is words used in similar ways will end up close together in this meaning space. But again, usually only one averaged out representation for each word was used. This study wants to take it a step further by creating representations for individual language users. So how did they build these individualized representations? They scraped a massive amount of text data from Reddit users. Basically, they looked at what millions of people actually write online. They collected comments from thousands of users who had posted a lot. Then, for each user, they built a unique language profile, or corpus. They used a method called Beagle, which captures how words appear together in sentences. It is like building a personal dictionary for each user, not a generic one. This process creates unique word embeddings or representations for each word, tailored to the specific language patterns of that individual Reddit user. Imagine millions of tiny, personalized dictionaries. They ended up with 2,000 of these individualized models. Now, to test how these individualized representations affect memory, they plugged them into a well-known memory model called Minerva 2. This model simulates how we recognize things. The crucial part is that they kept the processing parameters of Minerva 2 the same for all 2,000 user models. This way, any differences in how the models performed could only be attributed to the different word representations, not to different thinking speeds or attention levels of the models. They wanted to see if representation alone could explain memory differences. After setting up all these individual models, they fed them DRM word lists and asked them to predict false recognition rates. This is where the magic, or rather the science, happens. When they looked at all 2,000 user models together, they found something really interesting. While the average performance of all these models was pretty good at predicting the overall false memory rates, the individual models were all over the place in terms of how well they matched specific word lists. Many individual models were actually quite poor at predicting item-level false recognition, meaning they couldn't accurately predict whether a specific false memory would occur. This is where the collective part of collective memory modeling comes in. They realized that instead of relying on one giant averaged out model, or even just the best individual model, they could do something smarter. They used a technique called experiential optimization, or EO. This is like having a WISE committee. They iteratively selected the best combinations of these 2,000 user models, not just the single top performers. The idea is that different users' representations, even if not perfect on their own, might complement each other. And the results were striking. The model selected using this EO approach, which combined predictions from 50 carefully chosen individual users, showed a much better fit to the actual experimental data than relying on any single best user model. This is often called a wisdom of the crowd effect, where the collective judgment is better than the smartest individual. Even better, the aggregated predictions from these optimized groups of users outperform models trained on vastly larger amounts of text data. This is a huge finding. It means that the diversity in how people understand words isn't just noise. It is actually a valuable source of information for predicting memory behavior. By pooling together these individualized representations, they were able to account for subtle patterns in false memory that a single averaged model missed. It's like gathering opinions from many different experts in a field versus just one. To get a more complete picture, what does this mean for us? It suggests that human memory isn't just about a universal set of rules applied to everyone. It is also deeply shaped by our unique experiences and how those experiences mold our understanding of language. When we try to model memory computationally, we need to account for this individual variation in semantic knowledge. This approach could help us build more realistic and accurate models of human cognition. Now, it is important to remember this is still a new approach. Building and running 2,000 individual models, even simpler ones, takes a lot of computational power. That is a big challenge. Also, figuring out which users to include in the wisdom of the crowd is an ongoing question. They use two methods here, picking the top performers and using their experiential optimization. EO worked better, but it's still an area for future research to explore more efficient ways to select the best collective. In essence, this paper provides a compelling existence proof for collective memory modeling. It shows that by embracing the idea that word meanings are individual and then aggregating these individual representations, we can create computational models of memory that are both more accurate and more ecologically valid, meaning they better reflect how memory works in the real world, with all its individual quirks and variations. It's a powerful reminder that our unique life experiences shape not just our memories, but also how we process information itself. So, what are your thoughts on this idea that our individual language use shapes our memory so much? Does it make sense in your own experience? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more deep dives into the fascinating world of psychology, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.